Yes, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Brant. I'm going to discuss RecurDyn post today, and let me just go ahead and start this presentation. Yes, so what is RecurDyn post? So this is what we're going to be going over today. That's the first thing we'll be answering, and then we're going to talk about the advantages of RecurDyn post. And the next thing is how RecurDyn post handles large rplt files, which are the RecurDyn plot data files. That's all the simulation plot data is stored in after running a simulation. We're going to go through some basic functions, and then some other useful functions, and then just wrap it up with a summary after that. So what is RecurDyn post? RecurDyn post is a standalone post processor of RecurDyn, and it's now supported from with this latest version of RecurDyn V9R4, and it can be executed without RecurDyn. And so basically, as far as licensing is concerned, one post license comes with each license of RecurDyn Professional. RecurDyn and RecurDyn post can be executed at the same time, so you can view the screens simultaneously if you have multiple monitors. And various features for plotting are supported. So the advantages of RecurDyn post. The main advantage is that it allows you to efficiently handle large RecurDyn plot data files. So it has efficient algorithms to handle RPLT files larger than tens of gigabytes, and the file handling is done using a chunk method, which we'll cover shortly. And so the response is fast with the basic operations such as drawing the curves or zooming or fitting the screen. And there are a couple of new features for data analysis, such as compare data, change data, and preview mode. All right, so as far as handling large RPLT files, well, I guess the question can be asked, when would you have large RPLT files? And that occurs when you have very large models with many bodies, joints, or contacts. For example, greater than 100 of any of those entities. It can also occur if you have a contact where you've specified many contact points to be reported, and so that would be controlled here in this dialog when you're bringing up the properties dialog of your contact, and here's where you would define, for example, if the default I believe is 10, but sometimes you can increase the number to really clearly capture what's going on with your contact, and just to understand the behavior of the model better. The large RPLT files can also occur if you have a lot of steps or plot points, and so that occurs when these parameters here are set to high values. For example, if you have a lot of steps defined, or if you have a large plot multiplier step factor. And the situations where you would set these parameters to higher values is if you have some type of abrupt dynamic event and you want to capture that event with high resolution. Or if you're running like a FFT analysis on high frequency events. And so in that situation, you want to be able to you want to make sure that you're sampling your events with enough points to capture the frequencies accurately. Okay. So starting RecurDyn post is pretty easy. There's basically a post button in the main ribbon menu under the analysis tab. And so if you have a model open that has results loaded, when you click on that tool, it's just going to open up the post application with the results already loaded in. And there's also, okay, so as far as handling large RPLT files, the way to handle those in post is that, okay, so let me just go over a little bit of information here. If the file size is large, drawing a new curve can take a long time. For example, if the RPLT file is larger than 10 gigabytes, then it could, just to draw a curve, it could take from several tens of seconds to several minutes. If this is the case, then what you would do is to convert the RPLT file to what's called a chunk file, and then using these chunk files improves the performance. And there's a conversion process that is easy to do. Basically, you just click on this convert to chunk file, and it brings up a dialog box where you just select the RPLT file. The chunk file is then created, and then you go to click on the import button and just import the chunk file. So we're just going to go through a little bit of a demonstration of that. So here I have a model of an engine, and if we play the results, we can see that we have results loaded into the model. And so now if we want to open the post application, under the analysis tab, we would just click on this post button. And so now post has opened, and we can also see that the results from the model from the simulation have been loaded. And we can do just some of the basic functions. Oh, I guess I should probably go over, let me just go over the chunking process first. So if this does happen to be a large, a large RPLT file, the procedure to convert that would be to go up here and click on this button, convert to chunk, and then here you would just select whatever RPLT file you want to convert, and then just click on the open button. And in this case, I think I had already written out that file just to test things out, so I got that little informational message. And now, so we're just going to maybe delete this for now, and we can see that if I click on the import button, then this chunk file is now available. So I can go ahead and click on that, and it's loaded up the results. And now, just as far as some basic functions, just to draw some of these curves, this is similar to the regular plotting environment in RecurDyn, in that you can just double click on any of these items here, and it will go ahead and draw the curve. Now to delete these entities, you can basically just select the curve, clicking on it in the plotting window there, and then you just click the delete key. And to zoom, right now I'm just using the mouse scroll wheel, and you can see that that's a pretty easy operation. And if you've worked with the normal plotting environment in RecurDyn, you'll know that this is a lot nicer than that, because in the regular plotting environment you can sort of do a select zoom, but then once you select zoom, then there's these scroll bars on the side that you have to use to sort of move the screen around. But here it's quite easy. Basically, it's also the zooming function is taking into account where the mouse pointer is, so I can zoom out here, then move my mouse pointer to a different section of the curve and zoom in there. So this is actually pretty nice if you're really trying to examine a particular portion of your curve. Let's see. So, and now if you also want to reset the scaling, you would just double click on the background of the plot, and it would just reset the zoom factor to fit the curve. And there's also some copying functions, which are pretty convenient now. Again, you just select the curve that you would want to copy, but actually you can even do this with multiple curves. So here I'm just using the control key to select multiple curves from the plot, and then if I just press Control C, just the standard shortcut key for copying, then I can come into like any type of a spreadsheet program like Excel, and you can press Control V, and you'll see that it's copied out. It's pasted it in CSV format. So you can paste it to a spreadsheet or to a text file. There's also, if you click in the background of the plot and type Control C, then if I now press Control V to paste, you can see it pastes the image of the plot window. All right, so moving on to some of the next. Okay, so some of the other functions here is that, just now I was using the mouse key to select multiple curves. You can also use this drag and drop feature select box to multiple select curves. But you can also change the functionality of the select box so that it instead defines a portion of the plot that you want to zoom into. So that functionality is up here, and you can basically just switch back and forth between those two. I'm just going to reset this curve, but there's also a pan feature. So what I'm doing here is I'm clicking the middle mouse button, or in my case, the scroll wheel. So in addition to zooming with the scroll wheel, if I operate it as the wheel, I can just press down on it, and that allows me to easily pan, and then I can zoom into certain portions. And then there's also the ability to adjust the scale. So if I just reset this again, I can click on these axes here, and this will sort of adjust the scale of that particular axis. If I click, on the lower portion of the axis, then it's sort of adjusting the space on the lower half of that axis. And then if I just double click on that axis, it just resets it to the original setting. All right, let me move on to the next feature here. Okay, so now if I were to simulate another model, and then if I want to import those results as well. So in this case, I just increased the mass of the pistons in that engine model. And so now I have two sets of results. And so just to make things a little clearer here, I'm just going to right click on the background here and click on clear all. And that's just going to clear the display. And so now what I can do is, I have two result sets loaded into the database window here. And if I want to compare results between the two models, what I can do is click on one of the entities and then right click and say multi-draw series. And so that's pretty similar to how the old the standard plotting environment works. There's also a notion of and the ability to select different curves, and this is brought up with this show checkbox button here. And then once you've clicked on that, you can select different entities, and maybe we'll just do this here, and then that can be used for then it'll draw multiple series based on what you've selected using those checkboxes. As far as if I wanted to control the appearance of the curve, that would be, I would first select one of the curves. And then there's a properties window here on the right that is displayed, and it has all these properties of whatever I've selected. And since I've selected this curve, then here are the controls to select the color or the thickness. So it should be thinner, or I can increase the thickness. So here you can see that it's increased the thickness of that curve. If you're interested in changing the marker on that curve, then here it will change that for you. And just going to move on to the next thing here. So I was changing the properties of that curve, and now if I want to change, if I click on the axis, this y-axis here, then I'm able to change the name here, or actually here's where I could change the name as it's displayed here. So if I just make a change, hit return, then you can see the change has been made. You can change the units, different alignment options, and here's where you would display. You can display bands. Let's see, I want to, oh, okay, so here's also where you can display the grid lines as well. And okay, so now you can talk about how to export curve data. And the way you would do that is you would select a curve, and there's an export curve button up here. And then that you would just save that to some CSV file, and that's how that's done. You can also select multiple curves. So if I use my mouse to select all these curves, hang on. Okay, so for some reason that's, I'm just going to use the control key to select multiple curves. So I've selected 3 at this point. And then if I select again, and so let's see if I open up that, you can, if I open up the file that I just exported, you can see that it has exported the data for 3 curves, all 3 curves that I selected. Now, in the old, in the existing plotting environment for RecurDyn, there was the way to define how many windows you have open. That's in RecurDyn Post. There's something similar, except it's a little bit more flexible, actually. And it's called add side. So you can add to a window to different sides of the existing window. So here I'll add one to the right side, and then if I click on select the window that I just brought up, then if I wanted to add one to the bottom, I could do that. So now I have 3, and I could go back to my original window and add one there. So it's a little bit more flexible as far as what you're displaying on the screen at one time. And then once you have these multiple plots brought up, there's an option to hide the little header tabs that are displayed, just to make the display a little bit cleaner. All right, so there's some more useful functions. Let me just clear out. We're going to clear out this plot here. Actually, so I'm just going to start from a clean slate for this purposes of this demonstration. I'm going to open up Post again. All right, and so it has loaded the results of that model that I had open. And so we're just gonna pretend that I've sort of plotted some data that I'm interested in. And then let's say I ran a second simulation, and once I've run that second simulation, I can import the results for that. And now what I can do is easily compare the results from between the two without having to necessarily go in and navigate to that same item in the data tree. And so the way that I would do that would be I would just simply select this checkbox for that whole data set, and then I can right click and say, oh, actually it's up here. I would just click on compare data. So that's a little bit of a time saver. There's also another feature that is makes previewing the results a little bit more convenient. So I'm just gonna clear this for now. And so this is called the preview mode. And if you click on this, then what you can do is you can basically click on any of these data items, and if I click on another one, what it does is that it erases the last one and then brings it up. So this way I can kind of just quickly go through and review quite a few different results without having to go in and delete the previous curve in between each step. So that's another thing that can save a lot of time. All right. And I'm just looking at my list of things to demonstrate here. So that's pretty much the main features that I think most users will find the most convenient. And so basically, the main advantage here main advantages of using Post is that it really can if you have large RPLT files, it can really handle things efficiently and improve your workflow of dealing with the plot data. It has a lot of user interface features which make some of the standard operations a lot more easy to do, such as selecting multiple curves, easily renaming the titles, and being able to navigate, zoom in, and pan along the plot, and a couple other features such as the change data, compare data, and the preview mode that again help make the whole process easier to do. So that's what I have for Post today.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nelson. That was really good.